Hello, I'm Evelyn Bouley, an artist, an art teacher, and a volunteer docent here at the Pearl Fincher Museum of Fine Arts. I'd like to share with you today a series about illuminated letters. Illuminated letters from ancient times are still vibrant with their luminous colors, brilliant gold accents, and historic grandeur. This series of lessons delves into the techniques used by the great masters from centuries ago. To share these ideas with your students brings them an enriching understanding of art history. When did illuminated letters begin? In the Middle Ages, before the invention of the printing press, all books were written entirely by hand. I know a lot of the adults that might be viewing this are well aware of this, but I'm presenting this as if you could share this with your students for the first time. The word manuscript actually means written by hand. And in order to highlight certain areas of the illuminated manuscripts, the craftsmen would decorate them with gold to illuminate them. The word illuminar is Latin for to enlighten. I'd like to show you a close-up of the very first piece that I developed for this series. This is the first of 4, and I researched the Celtic design. It was very intricate and fanciful with dragons biting the tails of other dragons and ivy coiling in and out of the letters, and I was inspired and I wanted to make it as accurate as I could, so I actually copied a Celtic design that I found. I did ad-lib a little bit and start changing it up because I just couldn't help but feel like I wanted to do some of my own thing on the border. And I would encourage you, if you're going to try to do an illuminated letter like this, not to feel that you have to stick totally to the original design. Go ahead and change it if you wish. My students always love dragons, so I thought this would be a fun one to share with them. And I drew it out, and then the media that I filled it in with was Inktense pencils, Derwent Inktense pencils, and all of these supplies are listed for you online, so that if you want to refer to it later, that's where I got these bright, brilliant colors. And I must tell you that it does look a little bit tedious, but I felt a meditative peace in filling in these colors. It was truly putting me in the artist zone. So this was a joy, and I hope maybe some of you might like to try something like that. The next project in the series is the example of a letter B for my last name, Bouley. I did it with the Romanesque font, and I added gold leaf. The gold leaf decoration is something that was used very much during medieval times. And we have the capability of using gold leaf that comes in sheets. You can purchase this. It's called the Mona Lisa brand. It can be purchased at any art store. And once again, this is listed online about its availability. The gold leaf is attached to the paper using double tack. And I demonstrated that process in a previous video about decorative monograms. So if you wish to see how to adhere the gold in a very simple way using double tack, which is available at dickblick.com, then you can refer back to that video. The letter B is surrounded by things that start with B. I have bluebells, a butterfly, berries, a bluebird, and a bumblebee. I was thinking that this would be a very fun project for your students to pick one of their initials, and then everything that surrounds it has to start with their initial, the first letter of their name. All right, let me show you the next in our series. This third one is an illuminated letter and a self-portrait combined. Once I came up with the letter E, which is just a fanciful design that I just played around with, and I was thinking your students could just invent their own letter, I adhered it using the double tack and the Mona Lisa sheets of gold, and then I decorated the background with 3 things that tell you something about me. I have the tree to represent my family, the dove to represent my faith, and the art objects to represent my love of art. These things make it a self-portrait. So I can see where this would serve you art teachers very well in the art classroom. You could do a very easy step from studying illuminated letters to making it an illuminated letter self-portrait. The last in this series is this Celtic E, which I discovered and in my research, and I just loved the idea of the dragon, which I kind of changed up and exaggerated for my own desires. I wanted it to be a little more dramatic. So I have the dragon breathing fire, and I wanted to make this a true art history experience in that not only are we using the gold leaf as a method that was used by the old masters, but we are painting with egg tempera. And this is a process that was used during ancient times by the old masters. What better way to teach our students art history than to let them kind of live it? So this is what I painted the background in, and I'd like to show you how to mix some temperas so that maybe you might have a chance to use this in your classroom as well. I'd like to demonstrate the use of egg tempera on this illuminated manuscript. Egg tempera is working with powdered paint. In ancient times, the apprentice, their job was to grind up the minerals, sometimes semi-precious things like lapis lazuli, and they would grind them up for the old masters, and then this powder would be mixed with a binder that was, of course, an egg. And you don't use anything but the yolk. So you use the powdered tempera, which I have listed on the museum website, the supply and where you can find it. It's called Earth Pigments, and this is a natural material. If you are working in bulk, as I often do for classes, you can use powdered tempera that comes from Walmart. But for this particular project, we're going to use the actual natural pigment. And we're going to actually crack open the egg. And, you know, this is something you can teach the kids about how to separate the yolk from the white part. Then we disregard that. Now the yolk, we break that up. And we liquefy this powdered pigment with a little water and egg yolk. The egg yolk is the binder, but it gives it a beautiful, shiny, jewel-like luster. And when you see artworks that were done by the masters using this technique, they are as luminous and beautiful today as they were centuries ago. Once you have it, a nice consistency, you simply paint it as you would any other type of paint. It's kind of like gouache, if you are familiar with that media. And you can shade with it. You can layer with it. It's very, very easy to work with. And like I said, you're actually doing a process that has been done in the art world for centuries. And there's something about letting your students experience artwork that has been done that way by the great masters that really brings that feeling of understanding art history and brings it alive. I totally enjoyed having the chance to share this with my students, the gold leaf and the egg tempera and the illuminated letter, a whole concept from centuries and centuries ago, because it was beautiful then, and like anything classical, it's beautiful now. So I hope there was something that you saw today in this series. There were 4 different things we shared with you that maybe sparked some interest, and hopefully you can use these for yourself or in your classroom. So thank you for joining us today, and I hope to soon see you again at the Pearl.